Welcome to the Radical Responsibility Revolution podcast. This is where we are transforming lives, inspiring you to reclaim your health, your wealth, and the power of your mind. Here we share actionable insights, inviting you to turn inwards and design your life of purpose and abundance. Welcome back to another episode of Radical Responsibility Revolution. And I am so excited about this topic today because it's one of my favorite topics these days. And I want to say really clearly, boldly, and without apology, the way we think about menopause is dead wrong. Oh my goodness. I've been watching this for years and it makes me a little crazy because women have been sold a bill of goods. Oh my God. It's not just wrong. It's not, it just needs a rebrand wrong. It's historically, biologically, neurologically wrong. Women have been sold a bill of goods about menopause that is frankly insane. And I believe it came straight from the masculine playbook, which I talk about a lot. So let me be clear. I'm not anti-masculine. Okay, don't get that. But menopause has been framed through this system that values production, youth, output, and linear performance. None of those things work for us feminine energy people, especially when we're going through menopause or we've come out of it. And it strikes me as hilarious because menopause is none of those things. Menopause is initiation, it's rewiring, and most of all, it's ascension. And yet, we've been told, ladies, it's all downhill from here. Your brain is going to fall apart. Get ready for fog, fat, and failure. Oh my gosh, the list goes on. And this is the beginning of the end. So not true. Lie, 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 lie. No, this is the beginning of wisdom. So, what no one tells women about their brains, this is the part that makes me want to grab women by the old shoulders and say, your brain is not breaking. Your brain is remodeling. That is so amazing. And most women don't realize this either, that there are three major neurological remodels that we have in our life. Our brain rewires itself 3 times. Little XX chromosomes, we rewire 3 times. Once at puberty, once at postpartum, and yes, at menopause. So if that's the case, menopause is not hormonal chaos. It's architectural change. I'm so happy to share that with you. And I loved it a couple of years ago when I read Lisa Mosconi's book, Menopause Brain. And she talks about the female brain doesn't decline in menopause, it reorganizes. And what we experience as brain fog, emotional sensitivity, changes in our focus are actually signs of neural pruning. Yes, I want to say that again, ladies. Neural pruning. We are reshaping, we're cutting neurons that don't matter anymore and remapping our brains. Hallelujah. To know that. And just like in adolescence and just like in postpartum, we are doing it so that we are prepared for what is coming next, right? Childbirth and then having a baby. And now for wisdom. Because in menopause, this time the brain is reorganizing for this beautiful thing called wisdom, for pattern recognition, for my favorite, intuition and long range thinking. And here's the kicker. There is no male equivalent to this. This level of neurological transformation only happens in women because of that double X chromosome and the way estrogen interacts with the brain. And I can share you that if you weren't born with 2X chromosomes, no matter how much estrogen you take, it will never rewire your brain the way I'm about to share with you. Because estrogen is not just a hormone, it's a neurotransmitter system for the female brain. And so I want to clear something up right away. Estrogen is not just about reproduction, it is a brain chemical conductor up until the time that we go through menopause. And I love the way that Mindy Pels explains this in her book, Aging Like a Girl. She talks about estrogen as having a girl gang because when estrogen leaves, the reason that we have this upset in our brain chemistry is because some of her girl gang chemicals leave, like dopamine, which is all about motivation and reward, serotonin, which is about mood and joy, GABA, which calms our nervous system and gives us that regulation, and acetylcholine, which is in charge of memory and learning. So when estrogen fluctuates or kind of leaves the building, what's really happening is this. Our brain is now learning how to generate these chemicals internally rather than relying on cyclical hormonal surges. That's not loss. That's self sovereignty. That's independence. That's agency. And the menopausal brain is learning to do some really cool things, creating calm without these constant estrogen peaks, to access insight without emotional volatility, and also to prioritize truth over our favorite thing as women to do up until that point, people pleasing. This explains something really fascinating because this is what happens when women start to go through menopause. They stop tolerating bullshit completely because your brain is rewiring and it's rewiring for something new. And it isn't about that people pleasing and it isn't about taking care of everybody anymore. And we stop tolerating bullshit because midlife suddenly says, I don't care anymore about the old paradigm. That's not bitterness. That's not selfishness. That's not cynicism. What it is, ladies, is neurological efficiency. So even though I'm referring to ladies, any man or any person listening to this that has somebody going through menopause in your life, it's important to know that this is what's actually happening. There is nothing wrong with us. This is just the brain neurologically rewiring for efficiency. And the brain is no longer wired to smooth out the emotional edges or prioritize social harmony at all costs or overextend energy for approval. This is why menopause often comes with these shifts: clearer boundaries, stronger, so much stronger intuition, less tolerance for nonsense, and a deep pull towards our purpose. Which brings me to something ancient, something primal. There is this thing called the grandmother hypothesis, and it explains why menopause exists at all. Because here's the question science has not been able to answer for a very long time. Why do women live decades beyond fertility? It's always so fascinating because a man can make a baby until he's dead, right? And women have this period of time where we are baby producers and then it stops. But our life doesn't stop. This is an evolutionary process. And from an evolutionary standpoint, it makes no sense about what is the purpose for a woman after that. Well, researchers began to identify what is now called the grandmother hypothesis. So you want to listen for this. This hypothesis suggests that menopause evolved so women could become the knowledge keepers. Oh, we are the wisdom bearers, to become the teachers, to be the protectors of the tribe, to be the guides for younger generations. Instead of throwing us out with the garbage, it's about where is that wisdom sitting right here. Because in tribal cultures, postmenopausal women weren't sidelined, they were elevated. They became the healers, the midwives, the strategists, the shamans. Our place is at the head of the table because we are the wisdom bearers. Their value was no longer in childbirth, it was in wisdom transmission. And here's the really mind blowing part. Listen up because this is so important. There are over 1 billion women on the planet right now in some stage of perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause. That has never happened before in human history. Never. What does this mean? We are witnessing the largest emergence of feminine wisdom the world has ever known. Everything feels like it's being shaken up because it is with feminine energy. So, I want to share a little about my own personal experience and what happens during this grandmother hypothesis. It's all about movement, number one. Understanding that movement allows you to get that brain chemistry that is so dearly lacking when estrogen and her girl gang leave. I didn't know any of this when I went through menopause, but my body knew because your body knows everything. My intuition knew because your intuition knows everything. And during that season, I was so deeply active. I was doing yoga. I was weightlifting. I was practicing feminine movement. I was eating intentionally. And it wasn't because I was biohacking menopause. I didn't even know any of this at that time. Honestly, I just didn't want to feel bad in my body at 50 because I do believe that we choose how we feel. Here's what's really cool and what happened though. I had minimal hot flashes. I don't even, I mean, people kept saying, you're going to have hot flashes. I went, I don't know. I had a couple of hot nights, but then it was hot in California. I didn't get brain fog. And these dramatic emotional swings, they didn't come by my house because movement is medicine for the menopausal brain. And this grandmother hypothesis hinges on this one key factor. Post fertile women stayed physically active, like really active. What I see is modern women do the exact opposite. They sit more, they move less. And of course, that saying, sitting is the new smoking, it's true. It will take you down. And when movement increases, this is the beautiful part. You're giving yourself new brain chemistry. So BDNF, which is brain derived neurotrophic factor, ooh, that is a beautiful thing, but it gives you that desire to keep going. Dopamine sensitivity, oh, it gives you so much with that. You get some mitochondrial health in there, some glucose regulation. These are all things that keep us away from all of those symptoms that they say you're going to get with menopause because this menopausal brain is in great craving for this movement and for eating well. So, I want to talk about the real problem that has plagued us for the millennium. It's fear about menopause. It isn't the menopause itself. Here's the thing and the truth that no one wants to say. Most menopausal suffering is anticipatory fear. Women are primed to expect decline, chaos, loss, hot flashes, brain fog, all the things. And the nervous system, our beautiful nervous system, takes the brainwashing and it responds accordingly. And of course, stress increases cortisol. Cortisol disrupts sleep. Poor sleep worsens your symptoms, and it becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. So, what if we told women the truth? What if we said, this is your wisdom upgrade? This is your initiation. This is your throne. Boy, oh boy, would we get a completely different experience. So I've come up with a new term. I'm calling it Mensa pause because Mensa is a reference to high IQ. And IQ pales with wisdom. Wisdom leaves IQ in the dust. So I like to say instead of menopause, it's mensopause. Your IQ doesn't increase, your wisdom does. Because IQ, up until that point, measures information. Wisdom measures your integration into this life. It is the beginning of your life. And so, what menopause gives us in this mensopause is pattern recognition, this beautiful thing called truth discernment, energetic authority, and oh my God, my favorite, intuitive leadership. Because we're not fading, We are arriving. We are the wisdom bearers, the light holders, the way showers. And the way that we've been thinking about menopause, mm, dead wrong. It's time for a new story. And if you're here listening, you're already part of it. So if something about this podcast sparked your interest, follow the podcast, but more importantly, share it with a woman or a man or somebody that has a woman going through menopause in their life. I'll see you on the next episode.